The dagger that was used to kill Caesar ultimately became the source of destruction for his conspirators. This is not only a rhetorical phrase, it actually happened, as Suetonius, Plutarch, and Dio informs us. Within 3 years of Caesar's assassination, some of the conspirators stabbed themselves with the same dagger. But why did this happen, and what truly followed after Caesar's death? We have many political accounts of what happened with Mark Antony, or how politics unfolded after Caesar's death, but what happened within, among Caesar's family and friends? What was in his last will, and how did his death become a turning point for the Romans forever? This forms the last portion of the chapter of the lives of 12 Caesars by Suetonius, whose records remain of utmost significance for understanding Roman history. Perhaps Caesar never said anything when he died, covering his face with his toga, or perhaps he warned Brutus in his final words, telling him that he too would meet the same fate, as later seemed to come true for all the conspirators. At that moment, Caesar lay dead in the Senate house, and panic filled the chamber. His body remained there for some time, until 3 of his slaves carried him back home. The conspirators had wanted to drag his body into the Tiber and seize his estate, but they stopped out of fear of Mark Antony. Later, his will was read in the house of Mark Antony. It has been written on the Ides of the preceding September. It is true that in earlier wills Caesar had left everything to Cneius Pompey, but in his final will he named 3 heirs: the grandson of his sister, Gaius Octavius, later known as Octavian, who would become ruler after Caesar, was given 3/4 of the state. The other 2 heirs received the remainder. Decimus Brutus was also listed as an heir for the second order. Finally, Caesar left to the Roman people his gardens near the Tiber, along with 300 coins of money each. After Caesar's funeral was officially announced, a pyre was erected in the Campus Martius near his daughter's Julius' tomb. A glided shrine molded on the temple of Venus Genetrix was set before the rostra, containing an ivory bed wrapped in purple and gold, with a trophy displaying the blood-stained robe he wore when slain. Because there were so many funeral offerings that a single day wouldn't suffice to carry them all in procession, people were told to bring them by any route. To stir pity and outrage, actors recited lines from the tragedies lamenting betrayal and ultimately death. Instead of a tribute, the consul Antony had a herald proclaim the Senate's decree honoring Caesar with divine and human distinctions and pledging to defend him. The magistrates and high officials carried the stand to the forum. While some proposed that his body be burned in a temple, 2 men suddenly set the bier alight with torches. The crowd threw benches and anything they could find into the flames. Musicians and actors stripped off their costumes from Caesar's triumphs and tossed them in. Legionaries placed their armor on the pyre. Many women contributed their ornaments and children's bullae. Mourners included many foreigners, especially the Jews, who gathered for several nights at the place where his body burned. Afterwards, the people, inflamed with grief and rage, rushed with torches to attack the house of Brutus and Cassius. They were driven back with difficulty, searching for Cornelius Cinna, who had spoken harshly about Caesar. They instead seized Helvius Cinna by mistake and killed him, carrying his head around the city on a spear. In the forum, they set up a marble column inscribed "To the Father of his Country," where they continued to offer sacrifices and make vows to Caesar's name. Some of Caesar's friends believed he no longer cared to live, weakened by illness and ignoring omens and warnings. Others thought he felt so secure in the Senate's decrees that he dismissed his Spanish guards. Some said he preferred to confront danger openly rather than life in constant fear. He was known to say that the Commonwealth valued his safety more than he did himself, and that he was already satisfied with power and glory. He feared that if anything happened to him, Rome would fall into worse civil strife than before. It was widely accepted that his death came as he would have wished, like Cyrus, who requested a sudden and speedy end because of his illness, as we find in Xenophon. Caesar had expressed the desire to die quickly rather than linger in illness. The night before his assassination, while dining at Marcus Lepidus's house, he remarked that an unexpected and sudden death was best. He died in his 56th year and was deified not only by formal decree but also by popular belief. During games held by Augustus in his memory, a comet blazed for 7 nights, thought to be Caesar's soul ascending to heaven. Statues of him were afterwards adorned with a star on the brow. The Senate house where he was killed was closed permanently, and the Ides of March was declared accursed. Nearly all of those involved in his murder died within 3 years or by violent ends. The Senate condemned them, and some perished at sea. Others fell in battle, while several ended their lives with the same dagger used against Caesar. This was the end of an era that, for most historians, marked the basis of great change within the Roman Empire. The character of Caesar left a lasting impression on many who came after him, most notably Napoleon, and before him Sultan Mehmed, who styled himself as a new Caesar of Rome. Thank you so much for watching. I know I have left out some important details about Caesar, which I will cover in future videos. But first, I want to lay the foundation of Roman history according to the major historians, and then I will look to move deeper. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.